Hello Thifax Life fan. In this video, we will discuss on this point. Africa Path to Greatness. Africa is America's most significant geopolitical opportunity. Africa resources and its potentials. Africa and its people. African part to greatness. The background history of Africa as a tropical continent give it the opportunity to become the cynosure of the eyes of the Western world. The continent Africa is the second largest in the world with an average land areas between 11,642,094 sq2 miles about 30,152,882 square kilometer. In the history, the continent is bounded with Sahara and arable farmland. Africa is known as the mother continent since it is the oldest inhabited continent on the planet. Humans and their ancestors have been living in Africa for about 6 million years. Africa is America's most significant geopolitical opportunity. China is investing in African infrastructure projects, which might be a warm-up act for its foray into technology and finance, which would help it oust the US currency. Resources in Africa and its potential. Africa's population accounts for 16.72% of the total global population. Africa is ranked second in the world by population among regions, approximately similar to continents. Africa resources and its potentials. Africa is rich in natural resources such as diamonds, gold, sugar, salt, iron, cobalt, uranium, copper, bauxite, silver, petroleum, and cocoa beans, as well as tropical timber and tropical fruit, among others. Africa is richly endowed with energy resources. Reserves of coal, natural gas, and oil represent 3.6%, 7.5%, and 7.6% of global reserves, respectively. Africa's renewable energy resources are diverse, unevenly distributed, and enormous in quantity. Solar potential is almost unlimited, 10 TW, and there are abundant hydro, 350 gigawatts, wind, 110 gigawatts, and geothermal energy sources, 15 gigawatts. Africa has 16% of the world's population but makes use of only 3.3% of its basic energy. Biomass produces more than 30% of energy consumed in Africa and around 80% in various sub-Saharan African countries. Sub-Saharan Africa is projected to have 115.34 billion barrels of oil and 21.05 trillion cubic meters of gas in untapped but technically accessible energy resources. Africa generates 3% of worldwide energy-related CO2. The cost of transporting goods in Africa is among the highest in the world. By 2050, however, its transport fuel consumption is expected to double. The northern region, known as the Sahara Desert, is ideal for raising animals and growing crops. The swampy forests are good for timber wood, oil palm plantation, rubber plantation, and poultry farm. In the year 1994 through 1997, while the authority then held sway in America, Acts was signed into law for the growth of African countries tagged AGOA, African Growth Opportunity. The African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, has been at the heart of U.S. economic policy and commercial engagement with Africa since it was enacted in 2000. AGOA grants qualified sub-Saharan African countries duty-free access to the United States market for roughly 1,800 products, in addition to the more than 5,000 products eligible for duty-free access under the Generalized System of Preferences program. This allows African countries to sell farm products straight to the United States. In quick, the qualified countries and AGOA benefits. AGOA benefits include duty-free treatment for certain items under the United States Generalized System of Preferences, GSP. The GSP program is a unilateral trade preference agreement that allows an extensive range of goods from selected developing countries, currently 129 countries, to enter the U.S. duty-free. There are currently 40 beneficiary countries. Figure 1 depicts and lists the AGOA eligibility statuses of sub-Saharan African countries as of May 2012. As part of the legislation, all beneficiaries must undergo an annual evaluation to ensure that they are in compliance with AGOA's conditions. Some countries have lost their AGOA eligibility due to undemocratic government transitions, such as Côte d'Ivoire in 2005 and Madagascar after the coup d'état in 2009. In addition to Guinea and Niger in 2010. Following the conclusion of a democratic transition of governmental power, some nations, like Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea, and Niger, have restored their eligibility. Mauritania lost its eligibility on 2 consecutive occasions due to undemocratic transfers of power, but restored it both times after democratic elections. Other nations, such as Madagascar, have remained ineligible for AGOA benefits since democratic. The population of Africa is now 1.4 billion, with 60% under 25, according to UN statistics. In terms of trade growth, Africa is expected to keep up with much of the rest of the world in the years to come. Predictions of the continent's socio-economic revival are not new, yet this period will vary for several reasons. Finally, there is Africa and its people. Africans know little about one another, whereas what they possess is warped by Western media tropes. Their ambitions for a unified Africa will remain a pipe dream until they begin to pay attention to each other's fables. Thank you. Kindly like and subscribe for more facts.